Bardella, contributor for the Los Angeles Times, are here. Gentlemen, it is good to see both of you. Scott, be with you in a second. Kurt, to you on the issue of the border. This was something that President Biden had real weakness on in the 2022 elections. Does the attacks in Israel not just refocus, once everybody starts thinking about domestic politics again, refocus everybody on the southern border, and that's even before a possible attack?
Well, I think that's part of the strategy right now we're seeing, particularly from House Republicans. When they unveiled their funding proposal, they directly tied it to border funding. And this is something that we've seen House Republicans really talk about a lot. It's one of the reasons why they were upset with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy about making some funding deals that didn't guarantee that funding for the border. They want to get back to that message. And let's be honest, we're seeing not just in southern border states anymore. We're seeing in places like New York that this is an issue that is moving the needle, that is impacting voters in a real way. They see the migrant crisis in their own backyard now, and it's something that they're very unhappy about.
Well, and they're paying for it, right? We hear about all the New York City having to raise taxes, pay for shelters, all those things. Showing up in the polls.
Yeah, 71% of people say they are not happy. I think that's the angry emoji rather than just the not happy emoji. 57% want a wall. Look, Scott, you do polling here. If you're the Biden administration, how worried are you about that black swan event, right? Some kind of the thing we were worried about post 9/11 of a few cells of Hamas terrorists at malls or at restaurants on a Friday night across America. Doesn't that completely change the presidential election?
Absolutely. It is a black swan event. It is something that is, if it happens, it's on your watch. I mean, the brand new DDHQ NewsNation poll released yesterday showed that 77% of Americans have a heightened sense of they're worried about terrorist attacks. That's a bipartisan issue. That's not just
who are the other 23? Who are the other 23% there?
Yeah.
This comes in, look, and I think we see this in Right Track, Wrong Track, that Americans are feeling this general sense of unease, right? And it's twofold. It's one about security, and the other thing is about economic security. Here's President Biden today talking about the economy.
Today, the Department of Labor is proposing a new rule, meaning that when you pay someone for retirement advice, they must give you advice that's in your best interest, not whether it gets them the best payday. My administration is going to continue to crack down on junk fees across the economy to protect consumers, promote competition, and give families across the country, as my dad would say, just a little bit of breathing room.
Kurt, McDonald's revenue is now up to $6.69 billion. Strategic menu price increases, including an $18 Big Mac.
And the dollar menu isn't a dollar.
Yeah, well,
that's the bigger one.
Okay, it's spoken to Taco Bell, though. Yeah. What can you get? But no, because seriously, Kurt, at some level, when you've got a president talking about how much you can charge for extra seats on airlines, and at the same time, people are seeing this really painful inflation at the grocery store, at fast food restaurants, day in, day out in their lives, is there anything he can really say?
No. I mean, there really isn't, because like you said, listen, I think that the stuff on junk fees that he's doing, I think that's overall popular. People are fine with that. But like you said, when it's the everyday things that you experience, when you go and order a burger and all of a sudden the tab is $20 at McDonald's, you're like, what the hell is happening right now? And there's no magic phrase, word, catchphrase, slogan that's going to change any of that reality for the American people. And so the president's in a very tough spot there. The one thing he's got going for him, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, Republicans continue to self-sabotage by every time that they have these dust-ups over the speaker or something crazy, they are taking oxygen away from being able to focus on these issues that they could be gaining real ground with.
Never underestimate Republicans' ability to screw things up. They're now tying aid to Israel to the IRS rather than just forcing President Biden to have a reckoning about Ukraine. Very obvious political wins that they could get that they're missing. Scott, this is a question to you, though. Public opinion of President Biden, 35% favorable, 58% unfavorable. It's near a record low for a president. Probably below where Jimmy Carter was, where Lyndon Johnson was, and the like. How much of that is how the issues, the economy, security, border, and the like, how much of that is just sort of how they feel about him and whether he feels their pain and can do anything about it? And I'm wondering if it's possible to change that.
So let me answer the last part of your question. It's possible to change. The first part of your question is it's going to start feeling like that 6 to 7 months from now. Right now, this is general feeling. Once these campaigns start spending millions of dollars branding themselves, I mean, we saw President Biden starting with Bidenomics which is interesting considering inflation's the number one issue across all of our polls, all those types of things. It'll be interesting when it interplays, but he's going to have an opportunity to say, hey, I feel your pain, just like Bill Clinton did in the 90s, and maybe turn that around. But right now, it's got to go up for him.
No, I feel your pain. I feel your fear. I feel all of these things. Yeah, and you said it well. Never underestimate Republicans' ability to screw it up. Gentlemen, it's good to see you. Thank you very much. Coming up next,